And it's not about, I don't love you.
No, it's again, it's not making it personal. It's just like, I just have 10%. So I can give all of me, but all of me is 10%.
10%
And it has nothing to do with you. Yeah.
has nothing to do with you.
Love
So
that.
it hasn't
Yeah.
come up since, you know, Trey worked this weekend, so he was gone all day and he had a bunch of stuff come in. So he even got home late on Saturday. It was like 7:30, and then he was gone early Sunday and didn't come home, and now he's out of town. So he hasn't really even been in my field while I've
Right.
been in my emotional low, which has been, really great for me, to
Right.
be able to process
Process
this.
it by yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
But this is what's so cool. So if y'all are following me and us in this conversation about emotional wave, what I want to say is in the past when I would face those big emotional lows, I didn't know how long they would last. It could be months, it could be a day. I felt no control over the duration of that, which was so frustrating. And this weekend, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just so in the presence of this is a wave, you're in it, can't change it, you're not wrong. What does your body have? I feel like because my whole way of processing it was different, that it wasn't like I dropped in and then I was randomly spit out. It was more like, I don't know. I feel like because I was with it differently, that it shifted the whole experience because then slowly, like no effort. Um, it was interesting because Sunday night, after I worked 11 hours, you'd think I must have been exhausted.
Yeah. But you were up like 5:30, right?
I was up until 5:30 in the morning, Monday morning. And so I had gone to bed. I'd gone in my room about midnight, and I was like, okay, let me just lie down. And I started reading. And normally when I read a lot, I'm a big reader, so I read a lot at night in bed, and which is great for a projector because I'm horizontal, releasing the day. Um, but I start to, get sleepy, and then I just put my book down and close, go to sleep. I was never sleepy. I was like,
Your
and I
motor
was
was
good.
on. Each
Motor
emotional
was,
motor was on.
and
TikTok.
about 5:30, I yawned, and I was like, the moment I had a yawn, I turned and put my light off. No. I looked at my calendar. Do I have to work with someone tomorrow? Do I have a client tomorrow? No. Great.
Right.
And then I was just like, okay, I know I can sleep until whenever. And so then I got up about 11:30, and I had 6 hours of sleep, which for me, I normally sleep a whole lot, but 9 hours at least. But I got up, and then I didn't push myself. I kind of slowly, wasn't. And then by 1 o'clock, I was fully awake and really present. And um, I had the Monday afternoon, I was like, oh, I don't, I think I'm coming out of that wave because I don't feel
You feel light.
all
You
that
felt
pressure.
lighter. Right.
I felt lighter. And then I contemplated, well, I wonder if this is because by Tuesday I was great. By yesterday I was really great. And I was thinking about you yesterday, Lionsgate. We went into the Lionsgate. And that's another thing I was thinking, wow, what a powerful experience to have on the cusp of the
Right.
Lionsgate.
Yeah.
Big awarenesses for me.
Yeah. What I'm sensing with this, it popped up in my head while you were talking, and as I said it in the past a lot, what I'm sensing with that emotional wave or people with defined emotional solar plexus, be gentle with yourself, be kind, be gentle.
And I feel like that had the most
Absolutely.
it was the best way to experience my emotional wave. And I hypothesize, don't know, we'll have to do some experimenting. But I hypothesize that that's why it wasn't so completely debilitating.
Right. Well, you didn't fight it. In the past, I think we both fought our emotional wave because, like you said, we made ourselves wrong, and we made ourselves think like I'm crazy because because of that. Or people even would say, "You're crazy. You're emotional. You're too much." But if we would just have known to sit with it, to be gentle and kind to ourselves, and to just allow, like you said, what does the body want? What does it need? Does it want to work with the mind? Does it want to sleep? Does it want to, well, like you did? And that's being kind with yourself. And then having an outlet. For you, the outlet was creating the document and to dive into it. And then on Sunday to read a book. There needs to be an outlet in what way or another. And that's to be kind to yourself, is allowing yourself to be. Yeah.
Yeah, no guilt, no shame,
No shame.
no wrongness.
Right.
No forcing.
No.
I wonder, I mean, maybe it's because you asked the question about trade, but I wonder if okay, so I'm Hope. So I just was in my wave and I go, body, what do you have the energy for? And I would just see it on my screen. And that's what, I wasn't even thinking. Literally, the first time I asked the question, I saw that video on my internal screen. I was like, oh, okay, I can do that. And then I'm sitting here at my desk and then asked again, body, what do you want to do? And I was just sitting here, and then the book, the workbook kind of, and then I looked down and it was right there. I was like, yeah, I can do that.
Right.
And so no mind in that. But I wonder if, I guess what I'm trying to say is there was a hopefulness in there that my body would show me the way.
Right.
But I'm actually wondering, like for other people who have fear or need or guilt or innocence, or how it might be different for them. So if you're listening and you're playing with us, maybe you think about, maybe that's how a hopeful person moves through the emotional wave. Maybe if your need or guilt, you ask the question that's aligned, ask your body the question that's aligned with your own motivation. I wonder if that would help that kind of a person move through their emotional wave or be with their emotional wave.
Yeah, it would be very interesting if somebody would like to comment below and share with us like what it is for you when you have another motivation. Yeah.
And y'all, what I'd also love, because I would be more than happy to share my document that I put together. If anybody wants to see it, nobody may want to see it, but if that would inspire you, put it in the comments. And then, if there's a way that Corinda can post it as an attachment to the video, or
they just email to the bordeauxsessions@gmail.com and then we can send it by email.
We'll send it to you. If that's inspiring or helpful to you, you want to see how I did it, or maybe I could just use the document to create the workbook with the grid and you fill in your own. Maybe you don't need or want to see mine, but you just want the grid of how to do it for yourself. We can send you that too, if it's helpful.
Love that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Simone, for offering.
Yeah. I mean, I've already got it done. Might as well share, right?
Right. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
It's so interesting because people I know are saying that they really love our conversations. And for me, it's just, we're just me and you being us in the world.
And that's again that 40, that ease of just doing what you love, no ego, willpower, like we have to do this because we want to profit or something. No, we just like doing this, and I love creating the videos. So I'm still doing what I love. Sometimes I'm in my patience of my fifth because my computer does like 5 hours for just, downloading 45 minutes of when I cut up and edit the video. It takes me like 1 or 2 days for just 2 videos. And I go like, okay, this is my patience again. It's something with my computer why it's not fast, but I don't know what it is, but I just accept it. I surrender
What if
to
your
it.
computer is like a divine timing,
Yeah,
a magnificent, magical, divine timing
yeah,
meter?
right. Yeah.
Not,
And my manifesting generator wants to get it done. you know?
it's,
So yeah, I'm really grateful that people like it because I do feel that we both with a 4-6, we are here to role model. For me, it's role modeling my, like the cross of leadership. It is Karen says it's the cross of sovereignty. And that's how I feel like I can only role model how to be my unique self. And by just putting these videos out in the way that I like to create them. They're not professional, but I like, a lot of colors that you see and the little thingies in between. And that's all I can share. I can only share me. And I'm glad you're my co-partner in this.
me too. This brings me to if we have the time, you made a comment in the WhatsApp chat about how something that you have led to tied to my cross of consciousness. Do you remember what that was? And it was tied to a, let me see if I can, y'all, let's address this because it's so interesting. I can't see it, I'll find it, but I feel like we need to come back to it. It was because it was really powerful. Was that I was so like, just my emotional wave was so intense that I couldn't even write Corinda a WhatsApp message. And I really don't like sending audio messages for exactly what just happened, because when we write back and forth, it's all there. And I'll remember, oh, we were having a conversation. And then I just scroll through our WhatsApp chat and I can go right back to it. And I hate leaving audios because it's like, okay, you got to have the time to go back and listen to, if you're sending a bunch of audios, which audio was it in? When was that? So I don't like sending audios, but I literally did not have the power to type a message.
Right.
I had the energy to just hold the button to speak. And
yeah, I have several. I see that I send you 3 of one after the other. And I just sent 3.
Yeah, but there was something in there about something in your electromagnetics that's working with mine, with the cross of consciousness, and something from yours, and it was super powerful.
And even maybe after this, and maybe the coming days, you will still have this feeling that you're having now. Maybe not as hectic like it is now today. Maybe it is. I don't know. But for me, there came a bit breakthrough. So I almost feel like when you go all through these transits and with your awareness and sitting with it, you might gain an amazing insight. With your cross of consciousness, I'm almost expecting it. But no pressure. I just want to say I love you.
Yeah, so there you are predicting. This is on Saturday at the beginning of my awareness. You're like, I predict you're going to have some
breakthrough awareness and insights. Yeah, with your cross of consciousness. I somewhere at this point in our conversation, I was thinking about that 63 of that inquiry and then that self-inquiry, because it also speaks about self-doubt. So I felt your 63 was doing that self-inquiry. Yeah, I'm doing this. I don't know why, but it was, yeah. Sorry that I sometimes can't express what I'm
No, I'm feeling into it with my passive vision,
right.
because it does feel like something's there. When you do that, I'm really in all those sacral gates. But also in the 44. So you have the 26. So what's in the 44-26 channel?
The transmit, I don't know. Normally I know, but now somehow I forgot. Let me find it. It's something about transmission. Now my 63 just can say, I don't know.
There was some connection in this that went to the 22, and it was something I had.
I have the channel of surrender, the channel of alignment, optimal expression, the energy to transform pain into something of greater value and to share it. The will to stay in integrity with yourself and others, even if you're scared or feel less than. The ability to transform past patterns and create something sustainable and valuable for yourself and others. The will to do the right thing, even when it's hard.
That's so that's kind of a synopsis of what I went through.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why. What is the programming partner of the 22?
47. Because that's my life's work. And the 22 is my evolution, is my personality, earth. In the fourth line.
And what is do you know on the wheel, I can look it up, on the wheel, what is right before the 20, the 63? No wonder we're here. So when he's talking about the 63 line 6, which is my unconscious earth, he's talking about how the 63-6 is leading into the 22.
I have another one for you. The 47 is after the 64. On the opposite.
There it is.
Yeah.
Triumph is inevitable because it will always be able to access the 47. So with my 64.4, he says that triumph is inevitable because my 64 will always be able to access the 47.
And I have the 47.4, even in the same line.
We're in harmony there.
Yeah.
And we also have the same base in our
personality.
Yeah. And so the light's coming through our crystal in the same way.
Yeah.
And then so we're aligned as the light comes through and as it exits.
Right.
No wonder.
We are from the same crystal bundle. We all are, but there are different fractals, these crystal broken pieces, so to speak, metaphorically. And then our bundle is that too. And then it shatters in, the light comes in, but when it exits, that is color. So we come in as the same, but because of tone and color, I feel like because we are together and have that different, we have a broader range of the rainbow, so to speak. Right? Yeah.
And then, so that's, then in the 63, I have a 63.6. So he says, from the 63.6, you get to the 22, the grace that releases the mutation that will bring us into spirit consciousness. And I realized I was like, I think I noted this. I made that special note because of exactly what you said about, I feel like through this, you're going to have some leap of
Yeah. No,
you
I have
know.
that 63.6 in my culture. Yeah. And the 63.1, that's also like the hamburger you shared about being that very personal to the outer transpersonal in my pearl, the 63.1. Yeah.
Ooh, what a gorgeous pearl to have.
Yeah. Well, not when you're in the self-doubt. I have sure a lot of stories about that, but we're not going to talk about it. It took me more than 40 years. But the inquiry was always there. As
Mhm.
a child, and I think you recognize it, I was curious about everything, about the world, about people, about the universe, about the moon, even about myself. Yeah, it's a fun gate to have, I feel.
And I'm looking at your chart because I don't remember if you have the 22. I don't see the 22. But you know, that connection between the 63.6 and the 22 was
I didn't know
it
that.
felt so good to have that awareness because you know, the 22 is literally my favorite
Yeah, I know.
gate key. And I have never really understood why that I have this, even though it's not defined in my chart, is this huge connection. It's my favorite painting was the one that showed itself to me, and it's my screensaver on my phone. So the 22 is literally with me every time I unlock my phone, it's to the 22. And now I understand it, you know, because it's part of my purpose. It's the connection to my purpose. So um, that was really powerful.
Yeah. And I have to look that up then. Again, you remind me then. I go deep, but then somehow I forgot a detail. And I have to go back because I didn't know that connection between the 63 and the 22. So that's very fascinating.
Yeah, and it came, so I found that in the line companion under the sixth line. I think it was under the sixth line. It might have been through the general. So there were some of them that in the line companion that I was like, okay, but I need more. I feel like the overview. So in the line companion, he has kind of a general, and then
In the book of
the
lines,
specific
yeah.
line. And there were a few of them. I didn't feel like I needed it in all of them, but I did in the 63. And so the general line companion was, in the spiral of life, all ends are beginnings. Gate of doubt, suspicious of the pattern or not. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So the suspicion of the pattern is what triggers curiosity.
Right.
Abstract is trying to realize out of sequences from the past based on what it experiences in the present.
That's
And
what we're
that
doing.
was so powerful to me because I don't know if I've talked about it, but I was at pretty much ABD on a doctorate in reading when my son had his accident. And I stopped studying reading. But the reading theory that I was working on is that reading is a psychosocial linguistic guessing game of guessing and checking. And so what readers do is their eye movement studies, and basically when we look at a text, our eyes are circling or moving in some pattern.
Right.
And they don't literally move like, you know, left to right or right to left, whatever. They're moving around, and the eye is landing on different spots on the page. And when we good readers, if you will, good readers, or readers who they're guessing what's coming. So the brain is always guessing what's next in the reading. and then checking to confirm if that's what actually happened. And people who perceive themselves as bad readers is they often don't have a background, the past that supports their guessing and checking, whether that past is, their cultural experience, their wisdom, their school-based learning, their language that they know, or languages that they know. They don't have enough in their past to check what's in the right now. And so their guessing is not accurate. So instead of going, oh, I don't have enough to guess and check here, they go, oh, I'm wrong and I'm bad. And so when I was reading that, I was like, oh my God, that's reading theory. That's, what I was studying, reading theory.
Right. And now this is explaining that 63. Wow.
So so that you're looking at patterns, and you use the past to check what's going on in the present, to say if, like, oh, this is right, or there's something fishy here.
Right.
And that determines what you experiment in the present. But all of that is trying to predict the future.
True, but I do it unconsciously. It's like a natural thing to me. That's so, cosmically funny again.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that the 63 is trying to project the future out of the pattern of the present compared to the pattern of the past. And if the pattern doesn't project into the future, that's when we get suspicion and doubt. Oh, one of these things doesn't look like the other.
One thing is off. Yeah.
So I was then thinking, when I got to that, I was like, well, okay, but if a person is doing deep work, for instance, like when I was really focused on shifting out of victim energy, and I could no longer engage in the pattern with Trey of making him wrong, I was like, that's my anger. Go upstairs and deal with your own anger. Figure out what you did to make yourself, so then, like, what happens when someone's you cry because you're, creating some new pattern in the present.
Right.
And that's going to definitely make some pattern new in the future. And then he says, mental patterns focused on the future, and it is the question. Always asking questions, looking for answers as inspiration. If you can come up with the question, you will get an answer. And then that brought me to, how I'm always asking, and relates to the base, the line 4 base, what else is possible beyond what we can imagine? Sometimes I don't even know the question to ask. I just can ask, well, what else is possible beyond what I can imagine? And then that leads to a question that might help unlock the pattern.
Yeah, my question for mostly to people then is to do an investigation in their pattern, to investigate their situation, their problem, or, I ask, could it be that? And then I give a perspective. So it's almost like a different wording to your question, what else is possible? For me, it's like, could it be that? And then da-da-da-da-da. Like giving another perspective. So yeah,
I love that. Another question for us: could it be that?
Yeah,
could it be that? Could it be that I have something to work on?
Right.
Yeah. Could it be that there's nothing wrong here? Could it be that, I love that.
Yeah. And in Dutch, it's more even a more easy question to give. It's, could it be that, and then I fill something in. So you're suggesting something that people can respond to or feel invited to give an answer to.
I feel like there's something in the vibration. Could you ask the question in Dutch? Because I have a feeling that whether we understand the words you're using in Dutch or not, that the meaning will come through.
Yeah, I can. And there are two ways to ask even this question. So Zou het kunnen zijn dat? Is het misschien mogelijk dat? Is there another way? I'm trying to remember, like, how do I ask the question? Because it comes so naturally.
But it's so perfect because, like, when you ask the first question, I felt it like open up on my left side of my body. Y'all have seen it as my right, maybe, but it opened up the whole left side of my body. I literally could feel the words. And then when you said the second question, it came a little bit higher up on my heart space, moved from my heart space out to my shoulder. So I literally felt the energy in my field opening it up just from listening to you say the words.
Yeah.
In Dutch.
Yeah.
This happened to me this week. That's why what kind of motivated me is my friend in Denmark sent me a link to a Danish site. Her child, who is neurodifferent, saw in the window of this coffee shop the logo for this. Yeah, I think it's a coffee shop or a brewery, and it was two people, and from their heads is this kind of bridge, and their whole motto is about meeting people where they are and that we're all different, and her child is different, and instead of the message is, instead of looking at people as strange, let's try to meet each other where we are, where we're from. And so anyway, her son wanted to get a t-shirt with this logo on it, and she thought it was so cool, so she sent it to me, and I saw the logo and I was like, that is so cool. And then I wanted to know about them, so I clicked on the about button, and then this video popped up, and I was like, I'm gonna watch this video. So I'm watching the video, and it's all in Danish, and I don't speak Danish, but the man is talking about like their whole mission and purpose, and I didn't have to understand Danish. I got it.
Right.
Just from being present with him talking, and he's talking, and his facial expression, and I could feel his energy in my field, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. So I felt like, on the cellular level, I got their mission, and that's what inspired me to say, Corinna, say that in Dutch, because we're gonna get it.
Yeah. And I understand it, because you brought me back to a memory I have from our Launchpad, the course that I gave with your Unlock Your Design. And then we had this meeting where Bella and Ashley were there present too. And then there was something, in the field. And one lady, she is Spanish. And Bella knows Spanish, and it was a very intimate topic, so she started talking Spanish, and then the lady responded in Spanish, and I didn't understand a word, but I felt it, but I'm never really aware of it. So you're bringing this to my attention for a reason, so I'm curious what is gonna pop up for me to be aware of when I'm not speaking the language, but receiving the vibration of it. Because I felt it very powerful. I even teared up because, I don't know, I felt it. Yeah. And I even expressed it afterwards, like I didn't know what you were talking about, but it was intense. I felt the vibration. Yeah, it was beautiful.
I feel like as we move forward in our conversations that we should honor your expression in your home language in Dutch, because we will all feel it.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes you're comparing and contrasting, and I can see you, like in your mind saying it in Dutch, and then, doing the whole translation process. But I feel like, well, let's say it in Dutch now. And let us receive that. And then, you can illuminate.
And the funny thing that you bringing this up right now, because I'm subscribed to so many platforms because I just love the different information. I think that's the reason, or that's my open head and Ajna want to receive all these different kind of vibrations, and so one of them is from the Mayan. It's not the one. It's the Dutch one, because that was the whole thing about it. Sorry. The funny thing was, I can't find it now. But it's also from the Mayan. And they sometimes then, as advertisements, send you some information about your chart, so to speak, because they also have a chart for you. And I am that white mirror and with the tone 5, and then there are other elements, because it's also like a mechanism, like it's showing you, it's the red thread in your life. So you start with this, and then you go, because of the sequencing, you go through certain things in your life. And it was in Dutch. And what they spoke upon was like exactly what it said in human design, only, like more compact. But literally like the red thread of my human design chart. And I was like, oh, I want to share this with Simone. But then in my head, I was like, okay, but then I have to translate like literally in the moment all the Dutch words. It's going to take too long. But it was fascinating to see, because it brought out everything I have learned so far from human design, only with, less details, but the red thread was like spot on. So again, for me, it is a confirmation that all these systems that are out there, and then the beauty of human design is that it has the, the mix of all these, well, not all of them, but a lot of those systems or philosophies, whatever you want to call them, in it. But there is this, again, these teachings or these systems were created in different time periods. And it's almost like the universe, the program, is even giving us the breadcrumbs to like, here it is. We have to share the truth. So here it is. Do with it what you will. You find it or you don't find it. But we have shared it. So it's your responsibility to do with it or not to do with it,
to let it provoke you or prick
right.
you to awareness or not,
Right.
Yeah. I
So
love
it was
that.
fascinating. Yeah. And I will share it with you. I will give a translation, and it would be fun for you to, see it and read it like, okay. And
Is it kind of like reading when, when you read your cross of consciousness and you get kind of like a really succinct version? Is it like that or no?
Yeah, it kind of is. Like it was explaining my purpose, and I linked it also to my the cross of sovereignty, but also like if I don't take the lead, because it was also speaking on that leadership, and I have that 31 in my Mars, so it's the unmature energy, and it's the line 1, so I'm really investigating what is leadership, and it's towards the future. And I have a 33, which is about the past, and we just spoke about that. So
With the 63.
yeah, exactly. And then having it 64 in my ascendant, so it's so funny. And it was like I have to step up on that stage. And I was feeling my Chiron, like, you are off the roof already. You were being called back, but I'm still on the roof. And I'm kind of like, okay, am I ready yet? I think I am. But, there is this thing like, I don't know, it just was calling out to me when I read it. I was like, oh, I want to share it with you.
I love that. And I mean, I relate it to our conversations because really this is your leadership. You invited me to have conversations, and we just went over my chart. My chart is all about like kind of using my own rhythm and kind of going on the DL to, like, this is not the DL, so, but I have the energy for it. But you've led us on these conversations.
Yeah.
And it's through your leadership that we really focus on, have the courage to focus on what's in the field right now for us. That's all about you. And maybe, I mean, I've thought about leadership a lot in my life because I've been a leader a lot in my life. I've, run things a lot in my life, which was in my chart, management and also manipulation, managing through manipulation. But for me, the times that I felt the most powerful as a leader was having the wisdom to know who to ask for what, who to inspire or motivate to step up,
Right.
giving that person or those people the platform that they need, or the leg up, so that they felt secure in stepping into their own power. And I feel like that's kind of at the heart of all of our conversations, because and that's through your leadership.
Line one, because I believe that it's Richard says it's about the, I don't know the exact word at this moment, but it's all about, you know, developing something. You're like this first idea, and then you give it to the second line, who's, you know, finds it interesting, and then it goes to the third line, and then goes to the marketing, and then
so
goes
thank
to
you for your leadership.
Yeah, you're welcome. I just love what I'm doing. So if that's leadership, then it's fine with me. I do always feel with my 45, because that is the queen or the king or the pasha or whatever. But I just jokingly say to Hans, because he has at 21, like, I'm the queen of our kingdom, but you manage the money.
You're the CFO. I'm the CEO. So
like the queen better. So yeah.
I love that. We all have our role, and it's great when we know what they are.
Right. I'm just following the program.
Every time we sit in front of our backdrops of our mushrooms, that's what I feel like. We're the
queen of the mushroom world. Yeah.
We started, you know, the other day we were messaging about what Ross said background. Now we tied it, you know, for everyone. We Krita and I both watched look at what Ross said on Instagram, and they always have this great art, and they had a mushroom vignette or graphic, and I forwarded it to her, and I was like, I love this. And it was like being in a mushroom forest, and we're kind of in the mushroom spore and the, you know. But what I love about mushrooms is they are the micro network underneath all the soil,
which is also the 45, I believe. So it's because I believe with Unlock Your Design, it was about that the synergy with it, you know, underground, giving in what everybody needs, and that's kind of what the queen or the king, or you know, the leader, you know, the head of the kingdom does. You know, it's supporting like everybody in that community. And I love sharing, but I did have to learn who to share with. And that last one was even like within my own tribe, that I shared a lot because I felt a response, you know, to create something for the tribe, and then never hearing anything back anymore. I was like, okay, so they just gave themselves free material. And I really had to let that go, like, okay, it's fine. But it's not fine, because I don't want to be taken advantage of. But on the other hand, you know, I have it. So do with it what you will. I don't care.
Abundance for all.
Exactly.
But that's not a choice. But what you learned from it, abundance for all, but what you learned is that's not the place for my energy.
Exactly.
That's not where I have the energy to share my energy.
No, and it's not for just one person. It was, you know, I wanted to make it available for like a whole group. That felt good. You know?
The energy for the whole, for the, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was meant to be, so.
No, but what a powerful lesson for you. Look at the awareness that you got about, oh, my body doesn't want to continue to energize that. I don't
Right.
have the energy for that. And if you had pushed forward, I hypothesize that would have been a drain of your
Right.
resources.
Yeah, that's what I was looking back at. Like in retrospect, I was seeing like, okay, this wasn't right for me because I would have committed for over a year again. And, you know, there were so many things I was like, why was I doing this? Was I still, you know, responding because of my open ego center? Was I trying to prove something? Was I really, you know, coming from a sharing heart, or was it something else? And I felt like it was both. So it was a beautiful experience of what it means to be in the middle, so I could know the one way or the other. So I can recognize when it really is coming from my open ego, but I didn't really know when something really comes out of me, you know, sharing what Richard says about the 26, you know, sharing from the heart. It's marketing from the heart. And what we're doing here is really coming from us, from our heart, from our source, you know. And so yeah, the funny thing was that I was experiencing both. So the part of me was really responding out of that love, but there still was this backdrop of my open will center. Yeah.
And what a great, you know, like line 3 expression of the 6th line.
Yeah.
Right? Because
yeah, and in my north node on my design side, I have that 26. I believe it's even the 3, so so how perfect.
Right, and that there's nothing, you know, like all of when I'm working with my clients and what I look like, and you know how I look at my own life is that what did you learn, you know, what contrast did that experience give you about what you want to create or not create in the future? That
Right.
the experience or the choices within, I mean, we could go in and maybe analyze and find the not self or the self or all that, but at the end of the day, that experience gave you insight into what you want to create in the future. I guess we're back in the 63,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah. Yeah.
here's the pattern. Do I want to create more of this, or do I want to create something different? Do I have energy to create this, or is the energy not there? Again, not
Right.
about rightness or wrongness of
Right.
you or the people you're engaging with. It's just simply a matter of a discernment of
Right.
and you know, part of why I love what we're talking about is because of the contrast and how, as we expand and evolve, um, uh, something from the past may no longer feel right in the present. And so
Right.
then you kind of go, oh, one of these things this pattern doesn't look like this pattern. And how am I going to get to the one in the future if I don't understand these two? And then it's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
you know, it's contrast for, you know,
Yeah.
choosing. And it can be so confusing. You know, it can be so, oh,
Yeah.
why isn't this working? It's worked in the past. Why am I feeling about it like this now when 3 months ago, 2 weeks ago, 2 days ago, I felt like, you know, I felt like this about it. What's going on here?
Right.
That disequilibrium. And you know what I love is the confusion creates disequilibrium. And the best place, I mean, from educational theory point of view, we learn from the places of disequilibrium.
Yeah. And it was
You know,
also because I kind of forgot that in the story, is that we were supposed to have a meeting and he didn't show up. And then like I sat with the feeling, the emotion for 1 or 2 hours. And then I was like, I don't want this. I don't want to be treated like this. I don't. Blah, 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 blah. So then I sent a text message like, you didn't show up. So I hereby say that I no longer have the energy to co-create. And that was like also, you know, very straightforward. of me, I would usually wait longer, maybe they will respond, maybe they will come back. Do I want another meeting? And then I would just wait for it. And now I was like more setting the boundaries, like, no, if it's going to be this way, there were things before already happening in the chat. So there was already this frequency of like, what's going on, and then me just saying like, stop, till here and no further. And then later I got to share it with my mentor and teacher. He asked me why I left the chat. And I said, well, this and this happened, and that doesn't feel in integrity. So it was nice to even share it with like, the head of the tribe. Yeah. So it
And
was
then
all
you
good.
didn't need to, with our emotional wave, it's it's not it's a no until it's a yes, and you were in it's a no.
It's
And
a
you
no. And it stays
it's
a
a
no.
no.
It wasn't even that's why I waited. It wasn't even an emotional decision. I waited out my wave, but I felt like, no, there's no more energy here for this. The fun was out of it. And we already looked up in the other book that fun for us is like really important. To have fun with things, doing the things we love. For me, that means fun. Having
One
fun.
of the most important things in my life, fun and
Right.
adventure.
Yeah.
My your chart is sitting right here on my desk, and I kind of glanced over it. My eyes landed on your open spleen.
Yeah.
And so that might be like, that knowing in the moment almost feels splenic.
Yeah, I sometimes joke that I pick up on other people's spleens because I'm open. So that's why my intuition is heightened, and it's intuition for everybody. It's not my intuition.
Now, how beautiful is that take? Thinking about this is a decision that, you're in relationship with a tribe, and with some individuals within the tribe, but that decision was great for the whole tribe, because had you kept pushing,
Right.
it wouldn't have been good for the tribe. It wouldn't have felt comfortable.
Right.
Whether other people want to, or were ready to, or not ready to admit that, okay, this isn't a great, we're not in alignment, you got it. And
Right.
like, ooh, okay, this is not good for me or the tribe to continue. Right. It's not a good use of energy. It'd be like pouring gas into a bucket with a hole in the bottom.
Yeah. Exactly.
How does that relate to that knowing? Because I have this, well, it could be 3 places in your chart. It was like your spleen suddenly had the access to those hanging gates 48, 18, and 32.
Well, to be honest, it's like 10 o'clock, and
okay.
I felt my first yawn, and I'm feeling that I'm not able to respond anymore. So
we need to stop.
I was like blank.
Complete.
Okay, another sign.
It's complete, and we're okay with the timing of that.
It's like weird, right? And it's so funny to me that we are having so much fun, and it's really my body that my mind and my spirit wants to go on and on because I'm having so much fun with you and having this conversation. But my body is really showing me like there's no more energy here. And I find it so fascinating each time when we are together. I'm feeling it, I'm sensing it, I'm feeling the little thingies that makes you feel like, okay, their energy is like, and then I look at the clock and I go like, okay, no, I get it.
It's time.
It's time.
And I totally value, trust, and respect that. So
yeah, I know.
It was a great conversation. Thank you so much for holding me in the space of this big exploration.
You're so welcome. I learned so much from you and your experience. So I'm just very grateful. Love you. Have a great day.